Hello everyone, it's Christine here and I'm back to share work on my Stitchery Swap square as part of the Great Big Little Stitchery Swap being hosted by Annie Claxton. And this is a square that I've been working on for the lovely Kathy or Kathleen. And so I wanted to give you an update on where I'm up to, and then as promised I wanted to come back and do some further embellishment on the piece. So the last time we were together I was doing thread stitching of the flower, and we'd also put down our various pieces that would form the overall piece. So we had beautiful vintage lace along here, lovely tea-dyed lace down here, another beautiful piece of vintage lace coming across the top, including this sort of meshy bit. Subsequent to that, I've added a broderie anglaise edging piece, so I didn't want to add a huge piece on, but I just wanted to add a lovely another little detail to the top. And I've also stitched down the beautiful mother of pearl button, a vintage mother or antique mother of pearl button, which I love because it's got this little moon shape, like a partial crescent moon on it. And that will be the little holder for this extra little piece I've made that can either stay hanging on the piece or it can be unhooked off. And it's got my French laundry labels on the back of it. I've stitched around the piece as I'd done last time, and it's got this little hangy. So it could also be hung somewhere else as a little decorative piece. So I'll put that off to the side. And then, yeah, I've got my beautiful little fabric squares behind this. Even though you can barely see the ones down here and up there, I don't mind. It's all just part of that layering. So I've brought out a bunch of beads out of my collection. All of these are second hand. I think many of them are vintage as well, because they've come from people's collections who had finally sort of got to the end of their beading or sewing or decorative careers or hobbies, and so they've probably been around for quite a while. Some of the packets look quite old as well. I'm not sure whether Maria George still does beads in Flinders Lane. That's where a lot of the sort of dressmaking and other supplies used to be. But it looks like quite an old label, so quite a few of them are there. And even I think just by the price tag, 75 cents. I'm not sure if that's what you'd pay for beads these days. Maybe. So let's have a look. So I picked out some colours that I think go. I've got these mixed beads, which I thought we might start with here. And I was thinking I might use some of the little gold beads in the centre where I've done French knots using green and gold, but I thought I might just intersperse some little gold beads around as well. So I'm going to use some of this pretty thin crochet cotton. I thought it's just a good neutral colour that will go well with the gold. And let's see if I can pick up a nice gold bead without spilling them everywhere. One of the handy tricks that you can do is just to sprinkle some down on your board, on your felt mat, and they're quite easy to pick up from there. Just put that little one in. I think I'll just do a single stitch through because I don't actually mind. Oh, maybe I don't know. I don't know if it needs a double stitch, but it might just help it to sit a bit more with its little shiny edge up, which I think will be nicer. So I hope you're having a great day or a great evening. Just put another nice little gold one in. That one's not going to fit over the needle. Sometimes you get ones that fit and some that don't. That looks like a larger size one. It's quite good having little mixed sets of beads. Do another little stitch to hold it in place. And so again, this is all just adding little beautiful details so that your recipient, or yourself if you're the recipient of your stitchery, just has beautiful additional little things to spot in the piece. Some of those look like the smaller golds. And that's a small one. Might have to go hunting another larger gold one. Often beads will be different sizes, so even if one doesn't fit with your needle, you can always try another one, and sometimes you'll just find it's the odd one that won't fit. So you won't be seeing this video until Kathy has received her square, but I thought I'll film it and then it will be ready to share when the time is right. Ouch, prickly, prickly, prickly little needle. Very busy Monday at work today, but nice to have the evening to relax with a bit of stitchery. Let me know what you're working away on. Are you taking part in the stitchery swap? Stitchery swap's running from the beginning of November. That one just didn't want to take a second stitch through, so I'm going to just not bother. It's running from the beginning of November through to having things, all of your squares in the post by end of December. They don't have to have arrived by end of December. But I haven't taken on too many this time. I've actually just got some residuals from the first round who I couldn't take on as part of that first round, and so I've offered to send them a square as part of this second round. Oh, I keep pricking myself with this needle, goodness. Ouch. Ouch, ouch. Let's try not to get any blood on the piece. I think it's only a little prick. Okay, adding just a few more little beads to the center. If I can find another largish sized one. Don't need the blue ones, we don't have blue in this design. I thought the gold might be a nice colour because Kathy did say that she likes old golds, so these are just nice muted golds. One in there. Again, you don't want to make it all sort of too regular in terms of where you put them. You just want them to be just a nice little smattering. So I've just caught myself on that there. Maybe another one down here. Probably not the most scintillating viewing, but hopefully you're stitching away yourself. There we go. Pretty happy with that as a little central piece, and you can see how much of the stitching, although on the front I tried to keep most of my stitches on the front. That way you save your good threads for the front and you just try and do the shorter stitches at the back. Okay. So I might then switch to, I'm thinking, what am I going to do next? Put these beads back. I could use the pink ones from there. I might need to actually use the pink ones from here, so I might get myself, I'm going to have a look if I've even got a thinner needle than this one. This one is pretty thin. Don't think any others are actually particularly thinner than this one. It's almost similar to that one. Oops, almost flicked it everywhere. Can keep that one out as well. We'll have a look. And I might, where would I want to put what I want? Maybe I will put a few little pinky ones in there, and I might get some pinky thread out to use with it. I'm just having a look which is going to be a good thread colour. It's probably a little on the bright side. That's probably too red. Might be best to use a slightly more muted pink, I think. Or actually, this one could be okay. That's actually okay, I think. Use that. Do also have this one. That's could be okay. Maybe that one. It's okay if it has a bit of darkness. So that's an old Metla quilting. Got these ones I think recently from the Sewing Lair. Let's see if this needle is thinner than the other one. It's definitely a small head on it, but thankfully managed to get it threaded. Doing the method of tying the knot and running it down. And then, yeah, I might add a few of the nice little pinky ones in the centre as well, I think. Yeah, that's nice. That gives a nice little pop of colour. Yep, even these smaller ones. So this head must be just a little bit smaller than the other needle, which I'll put away so I don't lose it. This is a pretty thick thread, so I don't think I need to do the double stitching through the beads. I think it's going to hold fine. Even the crochet thread would have been fine as well without double stitching, because that's a pretty decently strong thread as well. So as you can see, it's much easier to pick the beads up from the felt, although that one was a particularly tight one, so we just move on to the next one if we find one that feels a bit tight. I'll put another one in here. Let's see if this one will work. Yep, that's pretty good. I think maybe one more up here, perhaps. One more there, and then where do I want to go? I think I'll tie the thread off there, and then I think we'll put some beads in down the bottom, and maybe even just some more little pinky pops of colour could be sweet. Let a good pull and tighten it up. And we'll put another knot in, so wrapping around, holding it and then sliding it down to the bottom. All right, so maybe down here, I'm wondering if I put some little beads, I could either put them on the tops of the little, or I could put some on the little bits, maybe even down here. Let's try that. They're a lovely bright pink. I think they're a bit of fun. So did say she likes the pinks, greens, old gold, flowers and trees. So I think these will be a good match for her. Might just put a second stitch through this one just to be sure, given it's the starting off one. So I might just space these beads out along this little bit of the lace. Oops. I don't know if you've noticed, I've got my Peter Rabbit pajamas on. Had a shower straight after dinner and got into my pajamas and thought, yep, I'm going to do some nice relaxing stitching with my buddies. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for keeping me company. And I'll get to enjoy your company when you leave me a comment. And let me know what you're up to when you're watching this video. That way, even though we're in different places and times, and we're all connecting up, which is the lovely thing. When I first started out doing the videos, I mean, there was hardly, well, there really was no one watching my channel anyway. And so it did feel a little bit like you were talking to yourself, sort of. Was a funny feeling, but now I know that there are folks out there, but it is lovely when I hear from you, particularly when I hear from new people that I haven't heard from before. I absolutely love hearing from my regulars and hearing what's going on in your life, but it's always lovely to go, oh, here's another person out there in the world who's stitching along, listening along, getting something from it. I think most of us who are creatives, we're kind of driven to, and I mean, if you're watching this, you're a creative, so you'll probably know this feeling. You're driven to create, so you're going to be creating anyway. And it is lovely to be able to share that process with others. I think that's what I enjoy about it. I love watching other people. I'm always, when I'm not making a video, I've always got someone's video on while I'm doing my creating. I don't watch TV. I can't even remember the last time I watched a series. I just enjoy fellow creatives, fellow adventures in life. So it's just a nice little bit of beading following the pattern of the lace. And it's almost just like a little edge of the petal or something. So I don't know whether I might just do another one over here, but leave the ones that are partial sort of undone. So what I'll probably do is just bring the thread down, that way I don't have to tie it off. So I'm just putting some little stitches in the back, almost whipping around the thread, but not quite. That's already there, and I just need to get along to, and that way you don't end up with a really long bit of thread on the back. You're just sort of anchoring down your thread so that it won't catch on anything. And then you can pop up where you want to be and begin the process of beading again. It's lovely to give second life to these beads, to think that someone had them in their collection and then eventually got to an age or a time when they couldn't use them anymore, and now they've gone on to have new adventures and to travel the world, out into the world with the pieces I'll be sending off. Oops, let's just pick this one up. So I'm just following around, just leaving a bit of spacing between each of the beads. You could obviously do an entire little rung of them. just for me about adding little accents, little exciting things to see, discover. I just love the idea of people opening up their mail and yeah, finding a Stitchery swap square and then having that joy of opening it up and just starting to look at the details and maybe seeing something new when they pick it up a second time and a third time. I think that's just exciting and lovely. Sometimes you get beads that are stuck together. Those two look like they're stuck together. Just move on and find another one. Great thing is this is also anchoring down the lace because I'd done some holding stitches originally, but I probably hadn't anchored all the sort of edges and things down. So stitching into your piece is a great way to not have to do too much. You just do a few little bit of stitching to start, so you don't have to have pins in your piece, and then you can see what you get anchored down through the process of stitching on and then adding embellishments, and then at the end you can just go back and pick up any pieces that haven't been stitched down that need an extra stitch here and there. Oops, that was a nice bead, but it escaped from me. So I ended up putting through 2 stitches just through force of habit, I think, in each of these. When I kind of get into a bit of a mode of just relaxing into it, I just tend to do things by intuition rather than planning or thinking too much. That one looks quite narrow. Oh no, it does still fit on the needle. So I might put that one just up this way, I think. Had a lovely dinner tonight. Had leftover roast chicken and roast vegetables, so that was a very easy dinner, which was great. This one's probably a tiny bit too close to the other one, so I'm just going to try and pull it down a smidgeroo through the process of the second stitch. Yep, that's better. Okay, maybe I'll even put one more little stitch in over here just to extra anchor it. Let's just pull it down even a smidge further. That's better. Okay, so I think I'm happy with these 2 little sort of arch details, and I'm going to leave the other bits of ribbon unadorned. So I think I'll tie off my pinks for now, because I think I might move on to some more bronzy coloured or goldy. I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Okay. So some of these haven't even been opened, but I thought, what colours have I got? Just thinking what's an old sort of gold colour and what's going to go nicely maybe as some extra embellishments on here. I think they're a bit too on the yellow side. I do also have these more browny coloured, but I was thinking of either of these, and I think maybe these ones, which seem to have a bit more. Let's have a look what they look like when they're out of their yellow, because that might be making a difference to them as well. So that's that's what they're going to look like. You probably can't even see those. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think that could go really nicely with this this piece here. So let me just put away my other little mixed beads from before. So they are quite easy to pick up off the mash as well. Got my little Christmas tin of those. And so I might get just a natural coloured thread. Might use one of these. What's this one? Sweden. I think I got these ones from the sewing lair as well. But it feels like a really nice thread actually. So I'll take a length of that. We'll thread ourselves up. I'll move that bead off to the side. And we will get beading. So I think I might start by putting a little cluster of beads in the center. Maybe some around the center if that one sat nicely in the very center. Hope you can see. Beading is a bit tricky to, yeah, make sure you stay on camera, but also make sure you can see what's being added. Just putting a little scattering around the center. Again, it adds just some beautiful little subtle glints of colour. A bit of glam, which I think Kathy will like. Still bits of fluff coming off the side, so I'm just going to trim those off because everything's been stitched down, but still a few bits of fluff. Okay, let's pop a nice one in there. These are almost like the ends of little stamens. Sometimes when you get the needle on your bead, it jumps away, which that one did, but I managed to tame it. Put another one there. So that's around the center, which is rather nice. I wonder if I use that colour, or maybe I'll just put one that's remaining back into the, oh, maybe I need one more down here actually. I'll use that one. Just thought one more down here might be nice. I'll just put a second stitch in that last. Oops, we've just unthreaded the needle. Always going to happen, isn't it? Just when you're finishing off your little bit of beading. Okay, come on. There we go. And let's just put a little tie there, even though I think I might continue on with the same thread. Just tie a knot for security. Now let's close those beads up and let's have a think what we'd like to put, because I was thinking I might add a few more little berries on here. Although I was actually wondering if I do some little pistol stitches but put little beads at the end of them. That's another possibility. Let's have a look first of all. There's these ones or these ones. A bit hard to tell because they are in a tinted container. This is where you have to be careful that they don't just totally pop as you open them. Yeah, I think those will look good. So I might intersperse some of them just around where the existing little bits are. Let's just put an extra stitch in to start off. Yeah, I think that will be nice just to, and then I think I will come back and do some pistol stitches as well with these sort of radiating out. So I might end up using some of my crochet yarn for those pistol stitches. Again, none of this is absolutely compulsory. If you're doing the stitch along, not a stitch along, a stitch swap square, you don't have to go into all the detail. I just enjoy doing this. So it's just some ideas. And if you don't have buttons, I'm sure you can find other little embellishments, little scraps of lace and other things, sequins, all sorts of things. Even bits of old jewellery can be really great for adding little accents to your pieces. So I'm just scattering these ones around. I don't want to go overboard. I just want to pop them in a few of the little spots so you just see whether it's like they're little seed pods that are yet to open up and the others are little blossoms. Just adds interest and beauty. So I think that's enough there. So I think then I will come down to this little cluster down here. So again, I'm just going to pass my needle along so that I don't leave a big long piece at the back. Oops, almost tipped out my beads all over the all over the desk. That was bound to happen too, one might say. And I think I'll do a third. I always like to do my things in threes. I know many of us are like that. We like to, let's just get those ones back into the tin. So don't need that many left out. Okay, we've got one down here waiting to be collected. Let's pop this one in here, and then I'll just put a little extra stitch in that one, and then we'll tie off at the back, and then I think I'll rethread with some either crochet yarn or if I've got some other nice shiny thin thread. I'm not sure what I've got. Let me have a look. So I could, because I'm thinking with the pistol stitches, this is all a bit of a random knotty old tangle of thread, this one. It is nice and thin, which is the nice thing about it. Just trying to find where the end is. I did get some off it before, but let's just have a look if I did some. Yeah, that's got a nice sheen to it, so I'm actually just going to take a little section of that off. Get rid of that bit of thread. Thread up again, and we'll do some pistol stitches with little beads at the end of it. Oops. That one might prove too thick for this one. It didn't want to go through. It sort of shaved off a bit of it as it went through. Let's see if I give it a little press at the end, whether that will help. That's better. These beading needles are quite sharp, so you definitely don't want to be pringing yourself with them. I'll just get rid of my extra long endy piece. Okay, so I think I'll start up here. And I might just do maybe a little piece. So I'm going to just start near where the branch is, as it were, and then I'm going to do a longer stitch out, and I think I'll go in and I'll go into the fabric first before I come out and then add the bead to it. But I've already given myself a little notch in the thread, don't know why. Sometimes the older threads will do that. So I'm going to then just pop up at the end of that little point. Normally when you're doing pistol you'd actually tie the French knot at the end of it and then go in, but I'm just really taking that sort of concept but just then adding a bead at the end. Then I might even just do a little leafy effect. So I'm going to do a little V shape and then anchor my little V down to the center of the little pistol stitch, like it's a little leaf. So you probably can barely see it, but someone looking at it would just start to see those little details. And then I'll do another one coming maybe up here. And again, might just pop up over here, add our little bead on. Then do another nice little V-shaped stitch. Do the way you're actually meant to do it, where you pass your needle back to the center to catch your little V and then anchor your little V down. And then come over here. Oops, and I've unthreaded my needle. I think I'll need to take my little ratty end off. Sometimes that's the trick when you've got a particularly fine needle head. It definitely makes it a lot easier when you do that. So again, I'll come out about here, I think, and put a little bead in. This is obviously coming in front of that other lace flower that's at the back. But it's all about just little layering details. Eventually I'll be able to pick up one with in fact there's one down here. I'm going to go for the low-hanging fruit. And let's put that bead in there. And we'll put another little stitch in to hold it nicely. So hopefully this is just giving you little ideas of how you can add your beads to your pieces and have some fun with detail. And then we'll make another little V stitch coming back to the center of the stem. Not sure what it's catching on there. It was catching on something. And then anchor it down. So by pulling it, you get that lovely little V shape. Then I can probably do another one popping out from over here out towards here. And then again, here we go. And we'll do our little leaf. When you're doing the little V, you need to make sure the thread's under your needle so you catch it and create that V shape. And then put your anchoring stitch in. And then I think it'd be nice to do some from out here so it fills up this, well not fills up, but just starts to starts to add some interest to that little space there. Another escapee bead. Okay, and then we just need to, so yeah, the leaf, the little V leaf effect just gives it a lovely branchy effect, I think. More so than if it didn't have that. Again, you could be doing anything at all. You could do even like a little leaf, like lazy daisy stitch, like a little leaf. Be a whole range of possibilities that you could use here. I think I'll do another one coming down here. It's amazing when you start beading, the time just flies. You would not think that I had been here for 40 minutes so far, beading away. Do you find beading relaxing, or do you find it frustrating? Let me know in the comments. I think for me it's just an extension of, yeah, slow stitch, so I actually really enjoy it. I don't think I'd enjoy it if it was like having to follow a really specific pattern, but again, this is just that really just very intuitive sort of stitching, slow stitching, so I think I do enjoy that. So I'm pretty happy with that, as just adding some beautiful little frondy stemmy bits to that. And so then the only question is whether I maybe want to add a bit of green along the top with some green beads, which I think I do. So let's do that. Because the green isn't as strong in this piece at the moment. And that was one of the colours that Kathy told me she particularly likes. So let's have a think. I've got these more emeraldy green. I've got these ones which have almost like a slightly blue sheen to them, and then I've got these ones that they look a little bit dull when you first look at them, but I think they could actually be a really nice green, so I think I'm going to use these ones. Let's pop some out. Let's close up that one before I spill that, and then let's select ourselves a good green. Now this one came as well from the sewing layer recently. I got some more fluoro sorts of colours, and I actually think that's going to be quite good. Doesn't have a brand on it, but it's got a nice sheen to it, so it's almost probably just a regular sewing cotton, I think. I think I joked that when I got all the threads from Alex's mum that I wouldn't possibly need any more threads, but then I saw these mixed bags on the Sewing Lair website, and I just couldn't resist. They were very affordable, just a few dollars for a bag of a whole lot of different colours, and I thought, yeah, I'll just add those to the mix. Now, where do I want to put them? I think I'll just put them on the little archy points. So I might put one on this very corner. These ones are very easy to get through because they're a much bigger bead. Could have almost used a bigger needle as well, but that's okay. And maybe I'll lay these ones a bit more on there so that their little tops, their open sort of ends show out, perhaps like that. That one's actually a bit long, I think. I'd prefer one a bit more flat. Let's find a nice flatty one. Okay. So I'm just kind of putting one stitch on either side. Maybe one on this side just to hold it a bit more, like that. It's better. One to this side and then come back up through the center and put a stitch to the other side. And that will usually work to hold them just nice and sturdy. So again, up through the center. Then one stitch out to one side and then back up through the center. Usually easy to come out first and then to guide your needle where you want it through the bead, and then the other stitch into the other side. Oops. One, I don't think I quite got it positioned where I wanted to, so I'm just going to put one more stitch in just to anchor it actually up this way. And one stitch over here. And then a stitch over there, and maybe I'll put one last one over here. You don't always have to be sort of perfectly symmetrical, but sometimes it's nice to finish off the edge the same way. Okay, so there you go. That's just added some extra little, almost like a little curtain or something, just something extra special to look at. And we'll then just have a final look at the piece and just see anything that needs to be done to finish it. I think I might still have a tiny bit of thread painting to do on the flower, because I just noticed before that there's a couple of the red sections actually where I haven't filled it in, so I'll probably just do one final little bit of red thread painting. But otherwise, I think I'm pretty happy with that. And then this is going to hang over there, but be able to be flipped out of the way and find that lovely beading underneath. But let me just give you a little look-see at it. So I think, I'm really pleased with that. I think I'd be very happy to receive something lovingly stitched, as I have been with all my other Stitchery swap squares, and lots of loveliness on the back as well, which I know many of us enjoy looking at. And at first when I was doing the crochet, using the crochet thread for this, I wasn't as happy, but I think it's just added some really lovely yeah, additional sort of textures. So I've got the wools here, but then the crochet thread has its own look and its own sheen, and then I've used some white wool as well interspersed, and in some cases interspersed the wool with the crochet threads. So yeah, really happy. I was toying with the idea of whether I needed to sort of outline the piece, but I love the way the flower is actually sort of, yeah, melding into the pieces, so that this is all one piece of fabric, which for those of you that watched the previous video, you'll know that's not the case. So yeah, really pleased. I think that's all the embellishment that it needs. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're having fun stitching, and I hope Kathy, by the time this video is showing, Kathy will have received her Stitchery Swap Square, and I hope you absolutely love it, Kathy, and I hope you've enjoyed being able to watch these behind the scenes videos. Let me know if you've got any questions about anything I've done, and I would love to connect with you in the comments. Thanks everyone. Bye.